everyone, my name is Martha Collins and I'm a recent graduate from Stanford University, and I'm currently getting my master's at Stanford in art history, and I'm here to talk a bit about how I got into my dream school. So first let me talk about high school. So I had a pretty untraditional high school experience. I actually went to a performing arts boarding school where I studied classical ballet, and I was there for all 4 years. And what was really interesting about that high school, it was called Walnut Hill School for the Arts, and it was up in Boston, is that there were no AP classes, and a lot of the focus was on the humanities. So I had a very strong background in English and history, and I also spent a ton of my time doing ballet. So part of my day was doing academics, the other part was rehearsing for ballet performances. So during the summer, I mostly spent them doing really intense ballet programs. So I would go to 5 to 8 week intense dance programs. And in the back of my mind, although I was training to be a dancer, I always knew that college came first. And I had always had Stanford kind of, I always wanted to go there. So my junior year, I actually got injured, and I was able to really dedicate a lot of my time to preparing for college. And if I had to give one piece of advice, it would be to start early. Because if you start early, then you have a better idea of where you want to go, you're less stressed out, and you can really focus on the certain applications for schools that you really do want to go to. So I only applied to 2 schools actually. I applied to St. Andrews, and I got in early. So they had a rolling acceptance, so I found out that I got into St. Andrews the end of September, early October. So then I applied early to Stanford. And so when it comes to what you can do to get into Stanford University, the biggest thing I would say is they look for passionate students. Stanford, unlike a lot of top tier schools, value extracurriculars almost equally to academics, although you do have to have, close to a 4.0 and good standardized test scores. You really do have to show that you're passionate about something and that you can bring that passion to the school. So my passion was obviously ballet, and one may not think that a ballerina who doesn't have that much experience with science or math and is more of a humanities major would get into Stanford, but I think that actually really helped me because colleges like Stanford, even MIT, that have this sort of STEM focused reputation, they're looking to expand their, they're always looking to have more diverse students in their college campuses. So I think Stanford actually was kind of looking to expand in their arts program, and here I am studying art history as a master's, and I was part of the dance club on campus, and I really added to the artistic community. So when it comes to Stanford, I think they really, really do look for passionate students. And what I think what really helps is if you take your passion and do something that helps the community with that. So to be more specific, I put on a dance show that raised money for a shelter for battered women in the area. So that shows your college that you're not just passionate for yourself, but you can take your passion and do good with that. Another piece of advice I would say is to really concentrate on your essays, especially with Stanford, because they look for students that have a dynamic personality. And again, for essays, I highly recommend trying to not be as serious and let your emotions come out. You can be funny, you can be vulnerable. I think I talked very deeply about some personal stuff I was going through, and I also tried to incorporate humor. So really try to show Stanford or whichever college you're applying to who you really are. This is your time to show them that you're not just this, straight A student who is passionate about X. It shows them that you have a personality. And another piece of advice is start early. I'm just going to reiterate that again. I think because I started early, I only needed to apply to 2 colleges. And what I mean by starting early is start thinking about what colleges you like starting freshman year. So that way you can have a pretty narrow college list, and that way when you are applying to your colleges, you're putting a ton of work into the ones that you really do want to go to. And in terms of counseling, unfortunately, my counselors had a lot of students to deal with, so they weren't that helpful. Unfortunately, I did have my mom. She was a really great influence on me during that time, but if I had to go back, I do wish that I had gone out and tried to find a more a counselor that could spend more one-on-one time with me and that gave more personalized instruction. So that's about it. And again, I graduated from Stanford last June, and I majored in art history then, and I'm doing their master's program right now, and I couldn't be happier. Thank you.